You should hear what keeps him up at night.
This is what keeps me up at night. I don't understand how my fellow Americans, I don't even understand how this election is close. And yes, I'm voting for you, but I would also vote for that wall over there.
Well, he's half right. We do need a wall. You know, to keep out gang members, fentanyl dealers, human traffickers, and Anna Navarro. What's funny, though, is that Stern actually thought that was a compliment. Stern has become such a wussified sycophant, he doesn't realize that telling Kamala that he'd vote for a wall is telling her that he knows she's as dumb as one.
Howard Stern built his legacy on shock value, rebellion, and tearing down the establishment. But when Greg Gutfeld took a direct shot at the self-proclaimed king of controversy, Stern had no response. No rant, no rebuttal, just silence. A silence. Louder than any insult. In a live, unscripted moment, Gutfeld didn't just question Stern's evolution. He called it what many have suspected, a full-blown sellout. The rebel who once pushed every boundary now looked like part of the very system he once fought. And just like that, Gutfeld lit the match. What happens when the uncrowned king of outrage gets out-rebelled in real time? Watch and decide.
But that's how Stern can call snacking with celebs at a fancy restaurant exhausting. Exhausting. Like he finished the overnight shift in a coal mine. Or hearing Kat talk about her pets.
Fair.
But I get it, life is tough, especially when you've been cut off from the world for 2 years in a $20 million beach house. I mean, you have no idea how tiring it is walking all the way from the wine cellar to the tennis court and back.
Most TV moments fade fast here, 1 second, gone the next. But every so often, something hits with the force of a cultural meteor, loud, blazing, and unforgettable. That's exactly what happened when Greg Gutfeld and Howard Stern clashed live on air. This wasn't just another on-air spat, it was a head-on collision between two media giants from opposite ends of the spectrum. And when the dust settled, only one looked like he still deserved a seat among the stars. Howard Stern may have ruled as the self-proclaimed king of all media for decades. But this moment put that title to the test.
But it is incredibly brave to take this stance after you've made $300, $400 million not being woke, right? Loving Donald Trump, exploiting the mentally ill, wearing blackface. Look at the crop of woke comics, whether it's Stern or Jimmy Kimmel, his BFF, Sarah Silverman, Joy Behar, Michael Ian Black. What do they all have in common? They wore blackface. And then they went woke. It's not a chicken or egg thing there. You know what order it came. So I call this BFR. It's blackface reparations. There's nothing in Stern's previous career that could withstand this modern witch hunt that he now embraces. So this is a form of restitution. Maybe he says, you know, if I'm woke too, the crocodile will eat me last. But they always do eat. But I get it. He flipped from populist to elitist because now he's with elitists.
If you're enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss a moment. Howard Stern didn't just push boundaries, he blew them wide open. As the original shock jock, he built a media empire by saying what no one else would, becoming the raw, unfiltered voice of a generation tired of playing it safe. Stern stood for chaos, rebellion, and controversy. Love him or loathe him, you couldn't ignore him. But that's the thing about rebel kings stay on the throne too long, and the crown starts to weigh you down. Over the years, Stern began to shift. Not all at once, but piece by piece. The edge dulled, the fire dimmed, and the icon of outrage slowly morphed into something different.
I will say this, Dagan. I thank God for Howard Stern because he does make me feel normal by comparison. Because I'm like the Fox recluse. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. But he makes me look like, you know, Pete Davidson on a...
Yeah, he's a germaphobe. Like, his wife rescues cats. That's her job, apparently, her thing. But you can get toxoplasmosis.
That's true.
Cryptosporidiosis.
AIDS.
And
no, you can't.
No,
but
you can't get.
No, you can't.
But you can get.
I mean, what are the chances I get that again?
Like a lot of diarrhea related.
From loudmouth outsider to polished celebrity interviewer, Howard Stern's transformation is hard to miss. Once the firebrand who tore into the system, he now rubs shoulders with Hollywood royalty. The man who used to explode on air now resembles a carefully scripted talk show host. And Greg Gutfeld noticed. He spotted the crack in Stern's one simple armor and aimed straight for it. Love him or hate him, Gutfeld has mastered the modern media clash. He's more than a political commentator. He's part late-night satirist, part cultural wrecking ball. He doesn't just debate. He slices, mocks, and exposes. His show blends sarcasm, sharp commentary, and fearless ridicule, making a name by torching taboos and calling out hypocrisy wherever it hides. So when Stern's name casually came up during one of Gutfeld's segments, it didn't stay casual for long. The trap was set. What began as a passing jab quickly turned into a surgical takedown. Gutfeld didn't just raise questions, he dismantled Stern's carefully curated image, mocking the former rebel for delivering safe sound bites from the comfort of a luxury penthouse. Check out this clip. I'll be right back.
On his radio show, Howard Stern defended wokeism, saying it's a compliment when someone calls him woke. Listen.
If woke means I can't get behind Trump, which is what I think it means, or that I support people who want to be transgender, or I'm for the vaccine, dude,
Let's be clear. This wasn't a casual jab. Gutfeld went in with precision and purpose. He didn't frame Howard Stern as a fallen icon. He made him a cautionary tale. The message cut deep. The once untouchable rebel had become exactly what he used to tear down. And in Gutfeld's world, that's the ultimate sellout. No shouting, no theatrics, just icy, deliberate dismantling. Like a surgeon with a scalpel, Gutfeld sliced through the mirth. He held up the old Stern wild, reckless, unfiltered, the guy who mocked the powerful and made censors. Panicand set him side by side with today's version, polished, smiling, cozy, with the very elites he once torched. It wasn't loud, it didn't need to be. The quiet made it more brutal. This was a takedown of a legacy built on defiance, now softened by comfort and respectability. The irony was deafening. The man who made a career exposing fakes now looked like he was wearing the same mask he used to rip off others. Gutfeld didn't exaggerate, he didn't have to. He just exposed the shift. The shock jock, who once spat on the red carpet, now rolls it out for himself. The symbolism couldn't be clearer.
But Stern being holed up in his house that long, it explains a lot of things, like how you forget how other people live, especially in hard times like a pandemic. For the longest time, 2 years in fact, the same time Stern's been AWOL, I wondered where he went. Not physically, but mentally. I bet you did too. Remember his screeds about COVID? They were epic and angry, and not to mention wrong.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? F them, f their freedom. I want my freedom.
The man who once wore rebellion like a crown now seemed fixated on one thing: approval. Hollywood's approval. Corporate nods. Mainstream applause. And that's what made it all sting even more. Show thrives on irreverence where nothing is sacred and no one is safe. So, when he set his sights on Howard Stern, it wasn't just a clash. It was a generational gut punch. One voice calling out another for abandoning the cause. The hit wasn't just personal, it was philosophical, and stern. He had no response. No rant, no clever comeback, just a heavy, unsettling silence. Gutfeld didn't have to claim victory. The moment spoke for itself. Viewers felt it. They saw something raw and real, something that didn't need to be shouted to land. That silence was the knockout. Stern, once the loudest critic in the room, was suddenly the one under the spotlight, and this time, the mask slipped. Gutfeld painted a picture not of a legend, but of a legacy slowly softening at the edges.
Even when I watch them on Saturday Night Live with the where they have Maya Rudolph playing you, I hate it. I don't want you being made fun of.
Oh my God.
There's too much at stake. I believe the entire future of this country right now, I mean, as America, land of the free, home of the brave, I think it's literally on the line.
So a guy who's supposed to be funny for a living now claims her candidacy is too important to joke about. This is a guy who once joked right after the Columbine massacre that the killers should have raped the students before killing them. Not that I like that, Stern, but this pendulum swing from saying the most tasteless thing in the universe to putting your balls in a Tic Tac container. You gotta wonder what's going on here. It's striking that the king of the most misogynistic humor ever now turns into a breathless over a progressive, hopelessly shallow candidate.
Stern built his empire at a time when breaking the rules came with real risks, CC fines, network bans, and furious sponsors lining up to shut him down, but the backlash only fueled him. The more they pushed back, the louder he got. Gutfeld, on the other hand, rose on a very different battlefield, one ruled by cancel culture, outrage mobs, and digital takedowns. He didn't rely on shock value to make waves. He wielded sarcasm like a scalpel, mocked instead of raged, exposed rather than exploded. This wasn't just a clash of egos. It was a showdown between two eras of rebellion. Stern, the analog outlaw. Gutfeld, the digital insurgent, fast, sharp, meme-ready, and ruthless. He speaks the language of modern dissent, viral soundbites, brutal takedowns, and hypocrisy lit up for all to see. The audience, they watched like jurors in a courtroom with no judge, just two media gladiators and millions of viewers holding the gavel. But here's what cut deepest for Stern. Gutfeld didn't trash his past. He respected it. He honored the fire that Stern once had. And that's what made it sting.
Happy Friday, America! Oh man, tonight is a special night. It's Feminine Friday, where all the panelists are women. Tonight we have Kennedy, David McDowell, Kat Tim, and Janine Garofalo. All right. A long way for a meat joke. Okay, I hope you had a good week. I did, and no thanks to Howard Stern. True, the New York Post reported that Stern hit a chic restaurant in NYC with a crew of A-listers, including Jimmy Kimmel, Jennifer Aniston, Jon Hamm, Justin Theroux, Jason Bateman. I was not invited. I guess.
Gutfeld didn't hold back. He made it crystal clear. The old Howard Stern would have torn today's version to shreds. The man now appearing on satellite radio and late-night talk shows in designer hoodies, trading deep thoughts with Hollywood insiders. Looked nothing like the chaos bringer who once dominated the airwaves. The Stern of the past wouldn't have recognized him. The guy who once eviscerated celebrities now seemed to gently interview them, like he was hosting a primetime charity special. To Gutfeld, Stern had morphed from a cultural sniper into a media monk, silent, styled, and strangely at peace with the very establishment he once set out to destroy. And once Gutfeld painted that picture, it stuck. It couldn't be unseen. The reaction was instant. Social media lit up clips, comments, disbelief flooding in from all sides. The moment went viral, not because it was over the top, but because Gutfeld finally said what so many longtime Stern fans had been murmuring for years. And with that, one uncomfortable question echoed across the internet. Can anyone truly stay a rebel forever?
Stern got even more pathetic, wondering how she doesn't nap.
When you said you don't nap, I get it, because like what you've taken on is extraordinarily difficult. And I mean, do you feel the pressure of the moment in the sense that, like when I met you out in the hall, I said, I'm really nervous because I want this to go well for you. I want it to go well for the country.
Hold on. I need a minute.
Is it inevitable? Do all firebrands eventually become part of the very machine they once vowed to tear down? Or worst, do they start defending it once their seat at the table becomes too comfortable to risk? Gutfeld didn't just say Howard Stern had changed, he went further. He questioned why. The issue wasn't evolution, it was motivation. This didn't look like a man growing wiser or more reflective. To Gutfeld, it looked like survival mode. The fearless icon who once claimed he was afraid of nothing now seemed paralyzed by the thought of offending anyone. The rebel who trashed celebrity culture now appeared eager to be embraced by it. And to Gutfeld, that wasn't maturity. It was surrender. But what made it all hit harder? Stern's silence. Let's take a look.
This definition of woke, it's if you call someone a know-it-all, you're not complimenting them on the breadth of their knowledge. Yeah. You're saying you don't know as much as you think you know. So, yeah, woke doesn't have anything to do with vaccines. What it really means is sort of a slavish devotion to left-wing ideology and then repeating it so you can get social credit.
Right.
That's really what it means.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're smarter than anybody. And he had said in another part of this set, because I believe in the science. Well, if you believed in the science, you wouldn't be hiding out like Howard Hughes in your mansion. So
Viewers who once admired Stern's fire found themselves asking the same uneasy question. Where did that edge go? It wasn't just that he didn't fight back, it felt like he couldn't. Gutfeld landed the blow, and Stern didn't flinch not out of strength, but out of confusion. In an era where every second is a reaction, Stern's silence didn't come off as restraint. It felt like a quiet confession. Meanwhile, Gutfeld kept going, almost smug like someone who knew exactly how deep he'd cut. He didn't need to gloat. The internet did it for him. Thousands of retweets, comments, and viral breakdowns echoed his words louder than any rant ever could.
I always hate that argument, like, what happened to the old Stern, or what people have changed. That's not what this is about. It's a weird disconnect.
Well,
What?
he hasn't changed.
No.
People have been calling him insane for 40 years.
Yeah,
That just used to be, this guy's nuts. And now they're like, oh, we're worried about Howard. He needs help. But I'll tell you, though, I'm a little sympathetic because what you said is correct, but I'm also a germaphobe.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just have a smaller apartment.
Yes.
So it's like
And what made it all the more shocking? Gutfeld didn't go after just any celebrity. He went after the celebrity who built an empire by tearing apart egos, unmasking phonies, and torching hypocrisy. This wasn't tabloid drama. It was a raw reckoning with legacy.
The entire exchange, whether direct or not, felt like a brutal commentary on the media itself, a mirror exposing its slow decay. Gutfeld's rise wasn't luck. It was built on the very fire that Stern once had, but now seems to have buried deep. Unfiltered humor, ruthless defiance, and zero tolerance for scripted fluff. That was once Stern's brand, but now it's Gutfeld's crown. While legacy media crumbles under the weight of censorship and corporate fear, Gutfeld has stormed in with raw, unapologetic commentary that hits home. He feeds the same craving for truth that Stern once satisfied, but while Stern now leans into soft chats and social approval, Gutfeld barrels forward like a wrecking ball. In this collapsing media world, this isn't just two men clashing, it's the torch being passed. It's not about politics, it's about authenticity, or at least the appearance of it. And in that electric moment on live TV, Gutfeld looked like the real deal. You can see an upcoming clip that the guy saying what others won't, even if it meant going after a legend. Meanwhile, Stern seems stuck, clinging to a past that no longer fit the man he's become.
Striking that the king of the most misogynistic humor ever now turns into a breathless over a progressive, hopelessly shallow candidate. But maybe that's the explanation. This is Stern's self-imposed penance for subjugating women to demoralizing stunts, capitalizing on desperate females thirsting for attention, even if it's from an oily paddle striking their bare asses.
Whether or not it's fair, that doesn't even matter. In media, perception is everything. The real question now is, what happens next? Does Stern find his fire again and shut the critics down? Or does he keep walking the smooth, safe road? More polished, more acceptable, but way less powerful. And what about Gutfeld? Now that he's proven he's not afraid to swing upward, is he becoming the new voice of raw, unfiltered commentary in a world starving for it? One thing is crystal clear. The torch was passed, or maybe it was ripped away. Either way, that showdown between Greg Gutfeld and Howard Stern wasn't just another media clash, it was a cultural earthquake, a generational shift, a public reckoning for a man who once was the reckoning. And whether you cheer for Stern or root for Gutfeld, you felt it. Something changed in that moment, because this is what happens when a king gets challenged by the court jester, especially when the jester is sharper, quicker, and still hungry for the fight.